fabulous phoenixes. I could have really reinvented the wheel, but I decided, no, you know what? We're going to do a really cool overview of what is to come in 24. But instead of me going really deep dive into a really intensive spread, my guides kind of called me on that and said it needs to be simplification. If you're simplifying things and the rest of the world needs to simplify things, so does this reading need to be simplified. So I'm going to pull 12 cards, and we're going to just sort of get a key word for each of the months, and I'm going to just kind of see what comes through. And we can set the intention that we would really like to know how best to support ourselves and how our angels and guides are supporting us throughout this 2024 year. Kind of a sneak peek. It's a little taste into the collective energies for 2024. And this is going to be a year of, I want to say, quick activation. So lots of things that happen and transpire, I feel, in this month or this year. Anything that you put your mind to it's going to happen. It's going to manifest, and things are going to move really quickly. So I want to say, just kind of hang on to your hats. I do feel a lot of sort of, even though it's not a 6 year, it's actually an 8 year. I feel a lot of 6 energy when I tap into 2024. And I feel like the 6 energy, it's that harmony, balance, and alignment. I feel like we're being rebalanced, recalibrated. Think about getting your tires aligned after a brake job, right? It's the same kind of thing. We've just had an overhaul. We've just had so much shift and change within our individual paths as well as collectively. And so now there's an alignment that is happening. And yes, 2024 is an 8 year, which is mastery, abundance, that infinite connection, that our souls are infinite. We never really die. We shift our forms and our shapes, but we never really die. The soul lives on. So this is an exciting time where I want to say there's harvest that's coming in. There's an opportunity to see the fruits of our labor. There's harmony and alignment in terms of all of those things that we're putting out there. But as with every year with harvest, there's still a lot of work. There's a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of work to be done. But I want to say it's joyful work. It's work that comes out of the space of, yay, we get to live another day, right? We get to eat. We get to eat for another season. This is fantastic. So simplicity, bringing the simple to life, being grateful, showing gratitude for the simplicities of life, because we tend to overcomplicate things, right? We very much can overcomplicate things. So 2024, let's see what we got coming down the pipe. All right, so this year, and didn't I just tell you guys, I kept getting 6 energy. 24 broken down numerologically is 6, universal heart. And by the way, this is the Angel Inspiration deck that I'm using here, Kim Dreyer. So the overall theme for this year is universal heart. It's coming together. It's going to be very much a collective year. A year where we are not going to be forced to, but I feel like there's a calling, there's an urging, there's a need, and a desire to connect with your fellow humans, to start looking at how we can connect collectively, how I feel that there's going to be more collaboration that's coming through this year, and it's all heart-based. How can we make changes from a heart-centered space rather than from the logicality, the rationality, or the power and control and domination? So universal heart is coming through. And I love this picture because we are seeing the world. So it is very collective. It is very global. We've got some beautiful dolphins that are coming out of, I want to say, the heart of the universe. And we've got the dolphins that are coming out of the heart of the universe, and surrounding, and this beautiful angel is surrounding the world in love. This is what we have to work with. And I feel like this angel is coming through. I keep hearing like newness, like this angel has not been able to spread its energy onto planet Earth before until now, because the frequency has shifted and elevated so much. So that's kind of our theme. All right, our January is seek enlightenment. So in January, obviously, it's a time of the year where we're all kind of pre-programmed or pre-wired to think ahead, to do a review, and to move forward. New Year's resolutions, all that jazz. What I'm seeing is the New Year's resolution really doesn't need to be about the physical things. It's about the seeking enlightenment. How do I choose to seek enlightenment this year in 2024? And in January, I feel like you're planning that out. You're taking a look at, you're going within and you're taking a look at what is going to illuminate me a little bit more. What are some of the things that I have had insight about within myself and within the collective over the last 2 or 3 years that I now have the space to expand upon? That's the enlightenment piece. It's being intentional about putting your arms out, reaching out and saying, okay, I'm ready now to receive more of this information. I'm ready now to receive more understanding, more clarity, more awareness. And it's intentional. You're setting the intention. So this could also be just from a spiritual and an energetic perspective. How can I get to know myself a little bit better? Is there a retreat I can take? Is there a course that I can take? Is there a community that I can join to really be able to keep me on track? This doesn't need to be you going at it A-type style and going big or going home. This is, how can I always say, how do we make dishes and laundry more spiritual? How can I seek enlightenment in my day to day? So the January energy is going to support that reflection and laying out the plan for you for the year of what that's going to look like. February, we've got Archangel Jophiel. Oh, this is gorgeous. So Archangel, and it's a 6. Oh my God, I just realized that. Okay, so like I said, we are in an 8 year, but I'm getting the energy of 6. So we are being realigned. We are being brought back into balance. So Archangel Jophiel is the Archangel of beauty, the Archangel of perspective. And I feel like what I'm hearing with this in February is ego. Ego is being realigned. So if you followed me a lot, you know that I talk a lot about we don't want to kill the ego. The ego is a part of us. It's a natural, necessary part of us, but it needs to be brought back into balance, or it needs to be repurposed. Because the ego for centuries has been ruling the roost. And the ego is, I like to say, the first officer, not the captain. The ego is Riker, not Captain Picard. And the heart is Captain Picard. The heart is what we need to follow. So Archangel Jophiel is coming through very much to say, in February, pay attention to where your ego is at. Is your ego speaking loudly? Is your ego kind of making a lot of the decisions in your life? Is the ego needing some nurturing, love, and care? Because all of it is beautiful, all of it is necessary, but how we choose to perceive it, how we choose to look at it, really shapes and shifts how we're able to utilize the energy that's there. So if we see the ego and we get fearful, the ego can represent our fears, and if we lean into the fear, being unaware that we're leaning into the fear, we're falling into an old perspective. This is about the new. So in February, lean into the new. You're trying to align yourself with source. You're trying to align yourself with that higher frequency. You're aligning yourself with enlightenment. Sometimes we have to shift our perspective. We have to do things a little bit differently. So February is going to really invite you to look at the ways that your ego is running the show and realign and repurpose the ego so that it is in harmony with this new version of yourself, where you're going and where you're growing. From a collective perspective, I feel that there are going to be a number of issues in February, politically, globally, socioeconomically, that are going to really represent the ego screaming out to be seen and heard. And sometimes it's just acknowledgement, perspective, and acknowledgement. Call on Archangel Jophiel for help. She's here. She's going to be showering all of her energy, her love. In this card here, she's got moths and butterflies. So she's here to help us transform. She's here to help us shift those energies. March. Oh, this is beautiful. Embrace change. Look at this card. So look at all the moon energy. We've got cycles of the moon that are happening here. And I feel, and I don't know, as I'm doing this reading right now, I don't know off the top of my head what's going on new moon wise, moon cycle wise in the month of March. But because the moon, this moon is being depicted here, I'm going to say we are going to be in a bit of a global cyclic change. We are going to be looking for different approaches, different ways to view what is transpiring. And it makes a lot of sense coming off of the heels of February. And I do feel that February is going to bring some interesting things to be aware of. And then in March, we have the capacity to make those changes right now. It isn't like, oh, I see this and this has to change and we're going to take 10 years to do it. That's the old paradigm. That's the old approach to things. It doesn't work anymore. It may work temporarily for a time, but eventually what you're feeding into is kind of like it's the dead, done and gone. I hate to use this terminology. I can't think of anything else, but it's like beating a dead horse. It's, what are you doing it for? You know, you're kicking the can down the road, but eventually you're going to have to deal with the can. So March is bringing with it the empowerment of embracing change. And that moon energy, moon is all about revealing mysteries. Things aren't always what they seem. The moon is also the height of our intuition. So I feel like I'm also hearing things will get accomplished at night. Change will happen in shadow. And I feel it's positive change will happen in shadow. So maybe we will have some, I want to say some underground movements that take place and make change happen, not in the light of day, but it happens because in the light of day, it's being thwarted. You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so, you know, you take what works for you, leave the rest behind. But definitely feeling here that this embracing change from a collective energy perspective, we're in it. We're doing it. And what is revealed in February and March, we're going to recognize this needs to be done now. Now is our time. But it doesn't feel scary. And I feel like things being done in shadow or being done at night, it's almost like the big reveal. It's smarter to approach it in that way. It's smarter to not show all your cards. And I always like to say, ask for forgiveness rather than permission, because more gets done that way, right? More gets done. Because most of the time you don't have to ask for forgiveness in the end, because what you've created really works. And if you had asked for permission, somebody would have gotten in the way. There would have been bureaucracy, red tape, ego getting in the way. This is saying, nope, we're not doing it that way. We're going to do it a different way. And we are going to embrace change. April, be discerning. Interesting. Look at the beautiful imagery on this card. So she's, I feel like this is almost, I'm looking at it sort of in a mirror image. So very intuitively, I'm feeling almost like DNA strand. I know that's not what it is, but that's what I'm seeing and feeling, is there's this energy of DNA strand that's moving up and through her. So I want to say in April, we really are going to feel quite a bit of an activation of sorts. Feeling really activated to connect with Source, to a lot of us are going to be very wanting to do more spiritual or energetic things to rebalance, reground, regroup, to expand a little bit more into what we're understanding about ourselves, about our community, how we're able to bring more things into the mix. I'm hearing more businesses. I want to say like spiritually based businesses, heart-based businesses coming out. A lot of men and women opening themselves up to the challenges of being business owners and things of that nature. So April, I feel, not only is it spring, it's a time where things bud and bloom and grow, there's also going to be a lot of that. But it's coming out of the energy of, like, I'm not throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. I'm not saying yes to everything that arises. from a DNA perspective, from an energetic perspective, I'm being activated. And through that activation, I'm then going into my heart space and saying, how do I want to express externally this activation? And I'm going to be discerning about it, because I also understand that the world at large is still in the midst of flux and change. And this is a great time to bring about new, but it's a great time to bring about new with some real clear intuitive vision and intuitive guidance around what you're bringing into the mix. I also love all of the red, because I feel that April is very much going to be about reconnecting to your passions. Things that you've been passionate about for a long time that you've not explored in a while. Those things are going to come back, and you're making room for it. Or there's room suddenly in your life, there's room for it, and that's where you lean. May, we've got Archangel Zadkiel. I love this. So Archangel Zadkiel is the Archangel of surrender. He's connected to forgiveness. Take a look at this color. We've got the beautiful sort of magenta purpley colors. It's an 8. So I believe this is our first 8. And so feeling very much this coming up in May, 8 is the actual year's energy. And so the fact that Archangel Zadkiel is coming through with this surrender, I feel like this feels very much like in May, there's a collective sigh of relief. There's a collective, we may, we've got a lot of horrific things that are going on right now, wars and terrorist attacks and unmitigated things that are going on to, innocent people. I feel like May quite possibly brings resolution, conclusion, because I feel that globally we breathe a sigh of relief about something. And it's not about COVID. It feels more like, the change that we've enacted and the discernment that we've applied to that, now suddenly we're seeing our efforts in action. We're seeing it in real time. The surrender piece is interesting. I just recently did a wisdom teaching for you guys on the moon cycles. And I'm not sure if I've released that yet, if you guys are getting to that or you're coming to that. But surrender is beautiful in the moon cycles, because we often think of surrender as sort of yang energy, the divine masculine, where it's an act, like there's a lot of energy and a lot of effort that goes into it. But that's because we're not approaching it properly. Surrender is supposed to be it's actually yin energy. It's receptive, it's nurturing, it's inspiring without having to put a whole lot of time and effort into it. So May, I feel, is bringing about that breath of fresh air, breathing a sigh of relief, the peace that comes with surrender. We often don't think about that. Surrender is like, oh my God, surrender or die, and I don't want to surrender, or I don't want to let this go. This isn't going the way I want it to. In May, I feel very much the energy collectively is going to be, Zadkiel's coming through to say, no. Here's how we can approach surrender in the new energy. We can see it as nurturing. We can see it as nurturing. We can see it as I don't have to expend a whole crap ton of energy to be able to surrender. I let go. I accept that it is what it is. Here's where I'm at. So May's going to be very interesting. I feel May is regroup. That's what I keep hearing. It's a regroup time. June. Oh, beautiful. Be tolerant. Okay, so as you can see, there's a strong wind, and that wind is blowing this really solid tree. This tree's been around for a really long time, and what I keep seeing is old energy. So there's a new wind blowing, and the light is peering through the clouds of this storm, and a lot of that old energy is going to want to ground down, going to want to say, no, this is how it's been for the last 50 years or 100 years or 400 years. And you're going to say, all of that is fine and dandy, but it doesn't really solve what's going on right now, or it's not relevant. to what's going on right now. And I'm seeing very much that be tolerant energy is saying you're going to see a lot of that, but it doesn't serve your purpose or theirs. It's not a loving approach to say, you're batshit crazy, you're wrong, get with the program. Even though we may feel these things, we may feel that, oh my God, like, let's get it done. Let's get it over with. Like, take your old energy and shove it. This is more of a, okay, I understand that you are operating from a fear-based perspective. And I respect that that's where you're at. I don't have to like it. I don't have to support it. But I can be tolerant of some of your choices and some of your behavior. If it's bad behavior, you don't have to be tolerant of that. But it's being tolerant of, you have the choice and the right to feel the way that you feel. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to say, I'm walking a different path. I'm here to say, I'm making the change. And whether you like it or not, this is how we're going and growing. And I respect that you're throwing a temper tantrum. And I respect that you're throwing that temper tantrum because you're fearful of the unknown. I am not fearful of the unknown. Or I have faced fear. I've looked fear dead in the eyes and I've made it my friend. And I've said, I'm going to do it anyway. And there's hope coming into the mix. And I feel like that's what the light coming through the clouds is. It's the hope. And it's Source saying, we're shining the light. This is where we're going. This is the new path. So I feel like tolerance is not acceptance of bad behavior. Tolerance is we all have the right to walk our own paths. And we may not be aligned with that always. And that's okay. We each still have the right to walk our own paths. July. So we are now on that 6-month mark. And moving into the second half of the year, we've got Archangel Uriel. It's a number 5. So Uriel is the Archangel of Truth. And I'm feeling that July is going to be a really interesting month collectively because we're going to be, I keep hearing the word like faced with choices that we weren't expecting. Faced with a situation that needs our attention now. It's the ugly truth. It's the ugly truth. And yet when you face the ugly, what's the opposite of ugly? Beautiful, right? So we have the opportunity to make it beautiful again. And we do that through our heart space. We do that through facing the truth head on and processing it, filtering it through the heart. And I'll just remind all of us that the theme is universal heart. So if you're struggling to connect with your own heart, that, whatever is being revealed, whatever is happening out in the collective, you're struggling to be able to really connect with that because it's too painful, or, you're feeling defeated, or, whatever the case may be, connect to the universal heart. Connect to the galactic heart of the universe and filter that truth through there. I feel like for all of us who are starseeds and light workers and sensitives and seekers and all that stuff, we're really going to be really into the healing space in July. We're going to be needed. We're going to be needed in some really powerful ways as healers. And I feel like it's also going to be a time where we're shining, where people are seeing us for who we are. We're already feeling that. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't really talk about mental health issues. 10 years ago, it was not normalized to see a psychic, to talk about spirituality in the ways that we are. It's been more normalized because so many more people are recognizing I'm not getting what I need from the old ways and the old systems. I'm feeling that there's something more going on, and sometimes I'm desperate. I'm seeking answers. I'm seeking relief from pain. And sometimes I'm curious, and I think there's more out there. What could it be? And this is where all of us, sort of the healer in all of us, is able to really shine. And July feels right now, as I'm tapping into this, like that's what's going to be happening. Something transpires, and there's a sort of a rush of new seekers, people looking for answers. So whatever capacity your healer is in, you're going to be in full force, full swing. So be open to that. August, oh, interesting. Be strong. So whenever I see a mountain in a reading, it symbolizes a journey that the client is about to take. And this particular mountain, it is in the sunshine, so we're seeing it, but it's behind him. So I feel like we are walking away collectively from something that has sustained us for a long time, something that has been always in our purview, always in our space and our place, to the point where we stopped asking why. And now we're asking why. And I feel like that be strong message is coming up, because we're going to need the strength and the courage to be able to say, yeah, this isn't going to be easy, but it's the right thing to do. It's what is required. It's what is necessary. So be strong in August, I'm feeling, is collectively inviting all of us to say, yeah, change sometimes can be hard. Like, what do I say? Simple isn't always easy, or easy isn't always simple, right? It's understanding that I can, it's simple. You just do this, but to actually enact that, things can get a little bit messed up. So feeling here for you, it's tapping into the archangels. It's tapping into the energies that bring you strength. It's tapping into your support tools and your support people to really bolster you up. The archangel that's standing out to me with this, of course, with the strong and the strength, is Archangel Michael. He is the archangel of courage. And that's exactly what I'm seeing here. And by the way, walking away, we see it as a little more daunting because we've not traversed that path before. We've not ever experienced what that looks and feels like. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be a bad thing. We're hardwired to always go to the worst case scenario, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's not, I feel, what this is about. It's be strong because you're walking into your future. You're walking into the light of this new life. And, the waters are supporting you. The waters are beautiful and blue. And yeah, they're a little bit choppy, but it's not a storm here. I'm going to say it's a windy day. Things are stirred up, but that's good. It's stirred up in a good way. So August feels pretty powerful. September, beautiful. And it's another 6, folks. It's another 6. So happiness. I feel like we've collectively chosen to move beyond something. I wanted to share with you too, the analogy that I keep getting in my head over and over and over again is, it's of course from a Star Trek reference, but the concept of this particular episode that I'm thinking about is someone feels like she's not being heard. She's a scientist. She's done all this work, and it's basically a commentary on fossil fuels. And she's saying, the fossil fuels are, going to kill this area of space. And everybody says that it's safe, and everybody says this, that, and the other thing about it. But I'm doing the research, and I'm seeing there's all sorts of problems, and everyone's poo-pooing her. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that, it's such a rare chance or whatever. And she just gets frustrated. She does the radical thing, and she blows up something that creates a pocket of space that demonstrates and proves her theory, proves exactly what it is and she killed herself in the process. And what I keep thinking about all the time is, in that episode, it's like we all know that we need to move out of the fossil fuel and the gas game because those resources are running out and it's not good for the environment, right? We know all of these things. In the last few years, we've really had a lot of exciting opportunity to see technology advance and grow to the point where it's more feasible. 20, 25, 30 years ago, the gas companies were buying all the permits to all of these new inventions, and they were burying them, they were squashing them. Well, now that's not happening. So is it easy to say I have to give up certain advantages, the ease, the convenience of, putting gas in the car and going wherever I want to go? Is that going to be easy to give that up in order to, go with electric, for example, and know that, yeah, when I take a trip, I'm going to have to plan that I'm adding an extra 3 hours to that trip because I'm going to have 3 stops along the way where I recharge my battery, for example. Is that super convenient? No. Is it better for us collectively? Yeah. We will adapt. It's not easy, but we can do it. It's simple, right? So, sorry, I just wanted to add that about the Be Strong. So that's in August. So September, we've got this happiness. And I feel like whatever we've moved from, we've chosen to walk away from and to let go and to move forward through that bravery and that courage, we're now being rewarded with happiness. And so I feel September really just is like a breath of fresh air. I feel, especially when you're looking at this card, there's so much of that solar plexus energy, and I'm seeing the light of the central sun. So I'm also feeling from an energetic perspective that there are going to be some new energies that come into the planet in September, but I'm seeing them feeling very silky. So whereas a lot of the energy on the planet that has been coming through over the last several years has been thick, heavy, like molasses, or it's having to move through the thickness in order to make its way for us to be able to sense it, feel it, touch it, absorb it, be a conduit for it. This energy feels like silky smooth. It feels delicious. It feels effortless. I want to say effortless effort is what I'm hearing. And again, because of the 6, I feel that September is also going to be a month of alignment. And when we're looking at the universal heart, I feel very much that the happiness is coming through to say, you have aligned with the universal heart. And now it's not about the procedure to connect with the heart. You're already connected. So now it's the expansion. So it's kind of like the level 1 to the level 2, or the level 2 to the level 3. I'm feeling some Phoenix energy that's coming up here in September. Don't be afraid to vision out for September right now. And I feel like set aside some high-end goals. Set aside the, I want to say, or not set aside, bring to light. Think about, consider, put in that, in your manifestations for September, those particular goals that maybe you're like, okay, that's like a total pipe dream. Like there's so much that would need to happen between now and then to actually make that happen. I want to say, start manifesting it now for September, because I feel like September is a month where things really open up and the impossible becomes possible. October, let go. So he's got the sword. He's released the bird. I feel like he has saved the bird from some kind of calamity, and he used the sword to sort of cut the bird free. I feel like we are the bird. So when I look at this, we're being let go. And I don't mean this in a career path perspective that you're being fired. This feels more like we're being let go of the control that we have felt for so long. Wings being clipped, being kept in a little box. We're being let go, set free. I'm also feeling with the 2, the 20, there is a level of duality that is going to come to the surface in October that is, I want to say, connected to this being let go so that we can fly free. And it's almost like we're overcoming a particular hurdle that duality can create or has been causing for some time in our lives. Now, we live on a planet with duality. That's one of the constructs of being on this planet. So it's not, it's part of the game. If we remove it, the game really shifts and changes, and we're not there yet. That it's not time to change the game, right? We're just getting into the heart of it right now. But I do feel that there are certain aspects of duality that we can get very finite, we can get very linear and boxed in our thinking about, well, this is what it is, and so this is the only outcome. Because this and this is the outcome, cause and effect. I'm feeling like we're shifting out of some of that, and we're overcoming some of those limiting beliefs and blockages that keep us trapped. So there's going to be an overall energy in October of release, being freed, and the places will go. So October is going to be a great month to plan travel. October is going to be a great month to revisit things that I want to say the timing was off. You know, the idea was great, but the timing was off, and you just kept getting obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. This is October. Now is the time to say, let me revisit that, because there are no obstacles, or you have the capacity on an energetic level and on a perspective level to see a new solution that it was always there before, but you couldn't access it because your heart wasn't at that frequency and at that level, but now it is. So October feels really powerful. November, oh, beautiful, be free. So November, I feel collectively there's going to be this energy of I don't give a fig. So I do feel that there's going to be some frustration. There's going to be some I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. I just don't want to do it. I don't care that it needs to be done. I don't want to do it. I want to say there's going to be like a lack of motivation for, obligation. There's going to be a lack of motivation for things that need to be done out of obligation. But there's going to be a real motivation to do things that don't keep you tethered to anything. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to want to move. There are going to be a lot of people who are quitting their jobs. Any job that kind of locks you in or has a contract that does not give you autonomy or freedom to play around. I feel like corporate is going to be in a world of hurt because they're going to lose a lot of really good employees, and they're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to shift. So November is very much going to be a month where people are acting on their restlessness. They're coming to the end of their rope about being controlled and saying, I don't care what the cost is. There is no cost greater than my own freedom. There's no cost greater than my own happiness, my own joy. And that's what we're all sort of collectively choosing. So we are going to see some interesting, we're going to see some interesting upheaval. We're going to see some interesting choices. And I definitely feel we're going to be seeing some interesting trends in career and in work, and especially in particular industries where the corporation is the boss. Like I control you. I pay you a lot of money, but I own you. No, you don't. Nobody owns me but me. A lot of that energy coming through. And finally in December, beautiful, trust the flow. And it's our second 9. It's 2 9s in a row. Actually, it's our third 9. I think we did get another 9. No, I lied. We have 2 11s. We've got be tolerant. We've got an embrace change. These are 2 9s in a row, 27 and 18. So 9 it's kind of fitting. 9 is endings, resolutions, conclusions. It's interesting that 9 is coming up in December of 2024. And I feel like 9 is also, it's reminiscent of being in service. It's reminiscent also of being ready for something new to crest. You're closing a chapter, you're closing a door. And I feel collectively, because of what we have moved through and shifted, and I feel overall, like, yeah, there are going to be some not so great things that are happening this year, but overall I feel that the collective energy is light and buoyant. And it's going to feel a little bit like when you're on a rickety roller coaster. It's designed to be rickety. It's designed to give you the impression that you could fall out at any time, but really, it's designed so well that you're absolutely not going to fall out. It's there's method to the madness. And I feel like that's what's kind of happening is everything that we've gone through this year, things are accelerated, things are happening more quickly. You want to kind of just trust in the flow of it. You want to keep your hands in the cart because you don't know what's going to be coming. You're moving quickly. There are a lot of, twists and turns, but it's all good. Like we get on the roller coaster, to get the thrill of, oh my God, like this is so crazy. But we get on there because we want to go on. There's intention for that level of excitement. There's intention for that speed and those stomach drops and the twists and the turns. I feel like for all of us in December, it's really about that. Trust the flow. It is going to be I don't want to say a bumpy ride, because that implies, oh my God, like December's just going to be awful. I don't feel that. I actually feel a lot of buoyancy and beautiful energy and people feeling light in general, more effervescent than we have in a really long time. And people are going to be, I want to say, leaning into that, wanting more of that, spreading more of that joy, making those choices in that way. So trust in the flow. I want to say you don't have to be looking for the other shoe to drop. Trust that what is showing up and how you're moving through and how everything is presenting itself is exactly the way it's supposed to be. I feel, she's lightening up. She's got her heart open, her chest open, and she's flying towards the central sun. She's flying towards source, right? The source energy of the universe. And I feel like a lot of us are going to be doing this. And interesting that I'm talking about the heart when our theme is the universal heart. So I feel like the theme for the year will be achieved. We'll arrive there. It's inevitable. We're getting there. And December is, I want to say, the culmination of that. It's saying, all right, we got through this year. This year is fantastic. We are rising. I feel very much this is a Phoenix rising year for a lot of us, that we're kind of through some of the birth canal. Now we still have a lot of, a long ways to go. And we're talking, years before we get out of the official high level birth canal of humanity at this point. But we have different phases of the Phoenix within different phases of the Phoenix. And so this is one of those phases where there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's that Phoenix rising. There's that, oh my God, we tried some new things and it's actually working. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're exploring that. So that's what's coming through in December. Overall, this is going to be, I feel, a great year. Yeah, some sticky wicket stuff. That's life. It's how we choose to approach it. And stand firm. If this is your vision and this is what you see and you want this change, stand firm on that. You can stand firm and be the light and work towards what you want to see without impeding on somebody else's. It's just you do you. Let them do them and you do you. It's all about alignment. You're realigning to people, places, and things that are going to be in support of your vision. And collectively, it's all going to work out in the wash. So we can let go, we can release, and we do it all from that universal heart space. That's where we're filtering it through. We're all healers, and we're all going to be called upon for that healing ability, that healing skill. That's the bonus for December. Sending you guys so much love. I can't wait to ring in the new year, going into this 2024 with you guys in January. So enjoy, and we'll see you through the rest of the month for all of the delicious goodies that we have. And as always, transform well.